Okay, so just hopefully quicker than normal video, just to update where we are, or where I am, with the new web version of the website then. So, most of the pages are technically like done, but not really done, if that makes sense. So I'll just walk you through what I mean by that then. So I've got this little key at the top of the page anyway, of the top of the main page only, that sort of hopefully helps to make it a little bit clear. So if the writing underneath is green, that means it is completely done. I don't need to touch it at all at any point really, unless something drastic changes about the game. So you know, for now, in the current version of the game, that whole top row, for example, is done. If it's in blue, which at the moment I've only got one in blue, forum and groups, then that means it's partially done, which means I've set it up. If I click on it, we'll have a look. So I've set it up, but I haven't actually populated it with full-blown content yet. What's going on? Okay, yeah, so I've set up the different groups, but for example, there's nothing in them apart from my friend code, and that's it really. I've not really put anything else in them at the moment, so it's started, but it's not really done. So then we come to the done for nows, right? Now this is the majority of the pages. Now basically what they are is I have used the databases I had on the old website to populate using a specific layout. Okay, so if I go, where do I want to go? If I go guide, no, not guide pages. All I wanted guide pages title. I clicked the wrong one, and now I'm going to have to wait a second. So basically, all of the ones in white, at least originally, will follow the format you're about to see if it ever comes up. But it pulls from the database the information that I've got on there, basically on a spreadsheet. Why is this not working? Yeah, so it does this general sort of layout. It pulls the title, what the previous and next pages should be, what that picture should be, what the section menu is, what the different bits under the section menu are, including the pictures and the links and everything. It pulls all that. It pulls the so-called in-game guide, even though there's now more of these that have been written by me than by Hello Games, but whatever. Pulls all the relevant links, link buttons, a little bit of writing that's in a lot of cases just the same as what's written in here anyway. The No Man's Sky resources graphics, the infographics, and then some video links, right? So they'll all follow that setup. So if I pick a random one, let's say space stations then, at the moment they come out basically like this then. So this is all the bits that are underneath whatever one it is that space stations is under. Let's find out. Section menu, the getting around, so all the things that are under getting around. So it comes up with the in-game guide, a link to another page that's relevant, some writing about it, which is probably pretty much the same as that but with some extra bits, the relevant infographics and the relevant videos. At the moment most of them have only got one video, but I plan on making a second and better video for basically every page. Okay, so it's populating like that, but here's the thing, a lot of the pages I want extra details on that I can't really do by populating from the dynamic page sort of layout. So what I'm doing is I'm gradually replacing some. So this finding buildings one, for example, if I go to a different thing like renaming and uploading discoveries, and then I go to next to go to the finding buildings, this is what the layout was when it was populating from the database, right? But as you can see, there's none of the actual buildings there, right? And I wasn't happy with that. So what I did, in fact I could probably have done it from there, couldn't I? This is where I find out if I've got the issue here as well, and I do have the issue here as well. So this is an issue I've got to solve, is that you'll see that says guide pages finding buildings, so that's the dynamic page version of the buildings one. What I actually want these to do is to find this version that's just straight up buildings, but you can't set... Huh, that's interesting. I didn't think about that. Crap. Okay, I've got to solve that in a second. But anyway, this version then does the separate dynamic pages that I've set up for buildings, and I can click on a random one of them. So let's say depot, and it will take me to the individual dynamic pages I've set up for buildings. So I've got a lot of the dynamic pages left to set the layouts up for, but the buildings one is more or less done. I just need to space it out a bit better perhaps. Let's just fix that before I forget. Where are we? Database. As you can see, I've got a lot of databases, most of which aren't actually in use at the moment. So I've got a lot of dynamic page layouts to set up over the next couple of days to link in with them, so that the new website is at least where the old website was. But you'll see I've linked all these things in that are the "you're in the wrong place" thing. But the problem is that because the buildings one is pulling from it as well, maybe a better way of doing it would be to go to the buildings page. Now it's got its own one. Undo the link thing there. Hello. What's going on? Why isn't that coming up? Anyway, I'll deal with that in a second. For now, let's put the right one there. Buildings, buildings, finding buildings. Yeah, I've spent most of today creating new versions of these because there's loads of obviously new things I've put on my new site that weren't on the old site that I needed to create these guides for, these little mini guides. I just need to break that link. Here we go. That has not worked. How do I break the link? If I click on something else, will it go away? Yes, excellent. Right, so basically I now have the problem that if I click on one of the links, it takes me to the dynamic page rather than the page that I have specifically created, and I can't actually do anything about that until I make this site replace the old one. Which is very annoying, because what I can do is I can rename the links in there to specific places. So I can go that's not right either, is it? I would have to go into my database to do this, wouldn't I? Okay, so I can go into the database and change it from I'll show you like a specific one. Hang on. So let's look at our previous. Well, our previous pages at the moment they go / guide pages / before you begin. All right, so that will then take us to home guide pages before you begin. All right, but it doesn't. You can't write in home is the issue. All right, whereas if I go down to buildings. Where is it? Finding buildings, have I passed it? Finding buildings right here, okay. Alright, well, if I just go finding finding buildings, that's all very well and good, but it won't work because it's basically trying to then go from wherever you've started and then add finding buildings on the end of it, rather than going from home and add finding buildings on the end of it. So if I try to give you an example of that then, so that's the previous button on the smaller points of interest, so there should be on the renaming and uploading, there should be a next one. Alright, so let's replace it there as well. Okay, so as you can see, that's just finding buildings. And then of course this whole section right, we've got these finding buildings. Do you know what, I actually thought I'd already done this, so maybe the issue lies with me. Maybe I didn't do this right. Let's find out, shall we? I really hope that it turns out that this was my fault, because that way I can fix it before I make the site go live, and I would much rather do that. I don't want broken links when my site goes live, you know. It's going to be tedious enough going through it, fixing all the broken links as it is. I don't really want to be doing it while the site's live. Right, if I now sync that to the live version, just back it up. See, it was these analysis files, the ones that made me believe it wouldn't work. We'll see. Anyway, so that's synced. So in theory, if I refresh, right, now if I click finding buildings, will it take me to the right place? No, it takes me to the home page. Right, so that's what I'm getting at. That's where it's a problem. Okay, so what I then need to do instead, and this is where it becomes problematic in doing it before I make this into nomanskyresources.com. No, buildings I meant. Oh, maybe that's why it went wrong, because I've got them named as finding buildings, but the actual page is just called buildings. Ah, ha, ha, ha. Sometimes I can be quite stupid. So, no. So it was probably... Nope. It was probably going straight to the home page because it was trying to find a page that didn't exist. I feel quite stupid now. I could be wrong, it might still not work, but we'll give it a go. See, this is why I do these talking to you videos, because I find that I realise stuff as I'm talking it out loud. Can't begin to describe to you how much stuff I've spent hours trying to figure out while I'm not talking to you that I probably would have found out quite easily had I just done one of these talky videos. Okay, let's just check I did the right ones back here, because it didn't seem like I did. Yep. Yeah, I did, okay. Continue syncing. Right. Hopefully then, if I refresh, I'll refresh from there. Right, if I go to buildings, right, that one goes to a normal one, that's fine, that's the one I want it to go to. But if I go somewhere else, and then click on finding buildings from there, let's do the icon just to be... see, the icon still goes to guide pages because I didn't solve the icon one, did I? But let's try the writing. Aha, the writing does work. Whoop whoop whoop. Alright, what about if I go to next? Did I solve next properly? Let's find out. No. No, I did not. Okay, what about previous? Did I solve previous properly? Let's find out. No, I did not. What did I do wrong on them then? If I solved it fine on the writing, why not elsewhere? See, this is what I'm getting at. Is it just... I didn't do it right. I knew I'd done something wrong with the spelling there. Okay, right, let's go solve the last one. So I did the writing, I just need to solve the third one along. We'll get back to explaining everything in just a second, I promise. Just if I find something broken, I have to fix it, you know? Right, refresh the page. What I should now get is previous page actually takes me to the right buildings page. Hooray! Right, so yeah, if I scroll down, we've got the... It just takes a minute to load at the moment, unfortunately, because it's not on the premium version at the moment. It's not the proper site. It's obviously it will get faster when I replace my normal site with this one. Okay, so buildings is sorted, and now I've figured out how to sort out any others that are like it, which is good. Right, so let's continue running through. So a lot of the pages that are written in white are more or less done. Well, they're all more or less done. I just will review each of them and see if there's anything that needs changing about the writing in particular, because a lot of the writing is basically the same as just what's written in the little picture mini guide, the in-game guide. So it's not necessarily needed on there. But there might be other details I can add or change around a little bit. I know it's all accurate and up to date unless something has changed with expeditions on any of this stuff, because you know I've been keeping it up to date on the old website, so it should all be accurate. Okay, but we now get to other stuff like smaller points of interest. Now at the moment, if we click on it, it is just another one of the dynamic pages, right? It's just populated like that. But it contains stuff like this analysis visor stuff, which again does need a little bit of updating because of the new icons. But it contains stuff like this that I would rather have in a table. But I can't put tables into my dynamic page layouts. It just does not let you, because you can't have the data. Ironically enough, you can't have a table in your table database. So basically what I have to do is I have to turn the pages like this that need something like the analysis visor icons and stuff in it. I need to turn them into their own pages like I've done with Finding Buildings, right, and give them dynamic pages of their own. Okay, so any that are in this sort of dark grey greeny colour, those I've got to do that too as well. So it's your smaller points of interest, your refiners, because I need to put the recipes in there. You know, I'm not sure about all these ones that are upgrading your equipment, learning new base parts, portable technology and stuff, because there's a lot of overlap with them, where they're essentially the dynamic pages that I already have in regards to the technology upgrades and the items and crafting. Basically, they all link to the same stuff. So I might just have these pages as they are, but then embed the separate main page for each dynamic page. So for example, upgrading your equipment, that'll be its own dynamic page like it currently is. So if I just go like this, yeah, but I'll add a section at the end to the database that says embed page, right? And I will add the address to the separate dynamic page for the upgrades, basically, because that saves me from having to do their own pages for these things. Right, so actually I'm probably going to change these back to white in a second for that very reason. Quicksilver is currently just a normal page, but I want to turn it into a dynamic page so that I can start adding the Quicksilver products on there that aren't, specifically because some of them aren't listed on the recipes and blueprints, because there's stuff like titles, for example, that it would be ridiculous to have the titles listed on the recipes and blueprints as well, you know. So the Quicksilver items, I think, need their own dynamic pages at this point. There's enough stuff. Obviously most of that stuff is on the recipes and blueprints as well, but there's enough stuff now in the Quicksilver Merchant that is separate to physical items from this that I think it deserves its own one. Okay, Bytebeat music. I respect Bytebeat enough that I want to create a really good, like, separate page for Bytebeat and for all of the really awesome creations I've come across in my time. I want to try and track all of them down and put them all on this one page, because it's so underrated. It's such a really useful tool in the game that so few people even know is there, that I want to really showcase what it can do. So that's going to be its own page, and I think I'm probably going to leave that till more or less last, because I sort of consider that to be my sort of reward for getting all the boring bits done. So yeah, if I scroll through, you'll see an awful lot of it then is your normal populated pages, so they're essentially done. Nexus missions and space station missions, I want to do dynamic pages for them as well. So at the moment they are just normal pages that don't list the missions other than in graphic. Oh, actually I've got some of the repeatable ones listed and stuff, but I want dynamic pages that list the rewards and everything. Has this even got the repeatable missions on it? Oh, I need to add that graphic then. And then if we go Nexus missions, there's possibly a graphic about it. Apparently not, unless it's loading it. Yeah, so that's the current boring graphic about it. If all your graphics, by the way, can zoom in like that, and then you can zoom full screen. This one is so big that you can barely read it anyway. But I mean, you could always... No, it's going to adjust. That's annoying. So that would be a case of having to download it to look at it or something. But again, this is why I don't like it in picture form. I want this in the form of a table, dynamic pages, all that rubbish. Okay, so that needs... This page needs a dynamic page section on the end of it that showcases the missions and all this detail that's in this picture, but also what the possible rewards are as well. So yeah, at the moment I've just got linked buttons that I don't think are likely to go anywhere just yet because I've not created those pages. No, but I don't like this linked button idea, except on the electricity page and a couple of others where it's actually needed. So let's see, where's the electricity page? It's not that one, is it? That's not going to be the right one, surely. Yes, it is. Okay, so you can see they've got 4 different places that it links to, and you know that these go on about all your electricity and stuff, and how best to work logic gates and all the buttons and stuff. So those need to stay. But most of the pages could do with an embed rather than those buttons, so an embedded set of dynamic pages or whatever. Okay, so then we've got the story missions, I want to do the dynamic pages of those from scratch, because so much has changed about the rewards in the story missions over the last few updates that I want to play the story again from scratch and literally just write down every single thing that you get rewarded, at exactly what point you get rewarded it, because I'm only about 80% confident at this point that all of the stuff that I've got written down for the story missions. So if I go into my, I mean, I've had this named story missions to be remade for quite some time. But yeah, I'm only like 80% sure that the rewards I've got written down for each step of the way are actually correct anymore. You know, I know for fact that these expanding the base bits were true, at least just before the Companions update. But Companions or Expeditions might have done something to that as well, I don't know. But the rest of the storyline, you know, I've heard conflicting things about some of the rewards. Now, some of that might just be because the game has a tendency to reward you something different if you've already bought the blueprint for whatever it was about to reward you. But yeah, I just want to go through the whole game from scratch and be absolutely certain that everything I write is right. And each of these pages will be dynamic pages. So instead of essentially a picture, a PNG, I want to recreate this as its own page that I can edit at any time, you know. And I mean, that's one of them. Yeah, so I can edit at any time. Say they add a step, or they take a step away, or they change a reward for something, or whatever else. So I can just edit it on the web page, and that'll be fine. So I want to not use these graphics, but instead remake them as web pages. That's the idea anyway. So again, that one's quite a hefty task. But if we click, oh, no, at the moment it's not even linked. I will link that to the dynamic stuff that I've got for it at the moment. So if I go back to my list, you can see I've got the buildings one that we've already looked at. I've got all the constructed technology, construction parts, crafted products, curiosities, the tech blueprints, the food, all of that, and I have right near the bottom the story missions. So I will create the dynamic pages for that to begin with, just so it's there, but I fully plan to change it. The weekend of community missions, I want to have their own dynamic pages, just because, you know, I want to track it each week and just add it to my spreadsheet or whatever every weekend. Space Encounters, again, I'd quite like to do a table for that as well, although I might just create a table in page for that one, as I have finally figured out how to actually add a table into the page, which I was struggling with on EditorX. Like, I could do it really easily over here on the Wix editor on the old site. As you can see, I've done it, manage table. I've done tables for the future content stuff over there that pull from a database, these specifically, and that was literally just a case of add lists and grids and just add one and then edit it from there. Whereas when you go to add on here, it's not there. But I figured it out. I've lost it again, but there is something there somewhere that is essentially a table. You just have to I'm never going to find it again, am I? It's not them. Those are just about layouts. I don't think I'm ever going to find it. For God's sake. What was it called? Let's go to my future content, because I've been working on the future content page today. Where's it gone? So I want to embed this in my brain, what the thing's called, insert a table. It's just repeater. That can't be right. Ah, go off. that seriously all I did was just do a repeater? Where is the repeater? I'm clearly not in the right place. Well, it's there somewhere anyway, is the point. Ah, there it is, repeaters. Yeah, so I picked one of these and then I edited it out to just be one section rather than say two there, and then connected it so it then acts like a table. Although in this case the table is only one column long instead of several. Okay, so I will do a repeater basically. But yeah, this is what I've been working on loads today, is the future content page, which was a pain to set up, and actually that worries me because that was one of the easiest of the dynamic pages, the dynamic page layouts to sort, because it is literally just line, connect the lines to some data. But it took me a long time. Anyway, back to this. Yeah, they're all fine. So cooking is obviously one of the dynamic pages I've got to do the layout again for, and then connect it to the database that already exists. I've also got to add an item to it, which is new. Something milk, what's the something? Craw milk, which I've got to try and figure out, because I can't even remember where I've seen it. Like obviously I've got the picture of the craw milk. Where is it? I don't know what I've done with it. Have I put it in food already? I think I have. That's the wrong place. Craw milk. Okay, so this is the new item. An animal byproduct. This nutritious morsel can be easily farmed without harm to the animal that produces it. Process in a nutrient processor to generate edible products. But at some point, whether it be when I've been data mining the game and stuff, all the decompiled stuff from expeditions and going through stuff, somewhere I have seen it called feed flying or something like that. So it's obviously somehow connected to flying animals and feeding them. I didn't think that was possible, so I need to do some research now to see if they've actually somehow added that as a mechanic in the game that then yields that particular item. But yeah, I need to add that to my cooking database anyway, and I need to make the database connect to a dynamic page that I need to create hopefully at some point this week, because I'm running out of holiday. So the companion stuff and the expedition mode stuff I want to create dynamic pages for as well, but they'll be from scratch obviously, because at the moment all I've got is the basic page about each of them. I have written, this is one of the ones I've written, it's got a lot of writing in this one. But yeah, again, today took a lot of time to get all of these new ones written for the website. But yeah, instead of a button going off to the egg sequencer stuff that you've probably seen on the Facebook group already, or on the old website on the pets page, pets. Yeah, rather, I mean, I can make the main page better than that anyway. But yeah, rather than all of this, I want actual dynamic pages or tables, one or the other, regarding all of that stuff. In fact, it's probably best just to do tables on the page. But yeah, I don't want these silly pictures. I want the tables actually on the page, because by putting the tables on the page rather than just having pictures, when you do that, let me put something in the background because that's confusing. Yeah, when you resize, you know, writing resizes with you, tables resize with you, pictures can resize with you, but try reading that, you know what I mean? It's too small to read. Whereas in big mode it is not. So yeah, I'd rather have it table wise, because I can control what size the writing gets to when it's differently sized then. Look, basically the writing that you can see there, and the same in the tables, you can see the writing is getting smaller, but only to a point. I decide what size is the minimum and maximum amount that the writing can get to. Alright, so let's go back. So expedition mode, again, I want to do the phases. So at the moment I've got you know, I've got the intro page, I've got the rendezvous points. I'm desperately trying to find out who it was that sent me this. Well, I say sent me it, that I got tagged in a Facebook post, like in one of the comments. Somebody tagged me, but it wasn't them that had left this picture, and I can no longer I immediately downloaded the picture while I was like fast asleep, basically, because it's like, oh yeah, I'll nab that. And then I meant to, you know, go and properly ask permission and thank them in the morning, and then by the time I did, I couldn't find the post again. So I'm really struggling to find out who actually did it, and that's sort of different for me. I mean, I'm almost tempted to take it back off, because I'm a bit iffy about it. I mean, they did post it for everyone to see, and they were, you know, here everyone, you know, use these, so I doubt they'd care that I'm using it as well, but I like to ask permission before I use stuff, so this is bugging me that I can't find the person that posted it. Anyway, I've got the rendezvous, not the rendezvous, sorry, the phases. So phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, phase 5, and the end screen, the final phase if you like, and then the things that season 1 unlocks. Okay, but again, I would quite like to have for each of these milestones have their own, you know, dynamic pages about them, or again maybe just a table. Right, so have the first section of the table have the actual the sticker, the second have the name of it, the third column have what you've got to do, and then maybe a fourth column that gives you tips about it or something, you know, something like that, rather than just the pictures. But again, that's something that can wait. It's not a rush on that one. I can go live with the site before I do that. And same with the companion pets, because the information is there, it's just in picture form at the moment, and I do need to do more research on the egg sequencer, but you know, there's something there at least, so I don't need to rush too much about that. Okay, so I have done the updates and experimental. I've already shown you the future content. And what have I done wrong? Why? Because I changed the name of it. That's why, because I'm an idiot. Let's fix that. Didn't mean to click on you. Alright, so updates and experimental, this is the page. And again, it's utilising the dynamic stuff there, so I'll show you that in a second. So this is the list of all the updates and the main things included in that update. Again, it resizes with you. Yeah. If I click a random one, so let's go to expeditions, and I've got it fully updated. So you've got the version number, the name of it, how many days has been since the game first released, when this update was released, and how many days is the active version. There's nothing there at the moment because this is the active version. And you've got your main picture, your main trailer for it. Why is that black? That should have loaded in a thumbnail straight away. What's going on with that trailer? How odd. Let's pick a different one. Let's do companions. See if there's an issue with the videos altogether. There is, isn't there? Oh, it's because I've renamed the video. Oh, see, every time I rename something in my database, I mess it up. I'm gonna have to go fix that in a second. Let me make a note. Updates video file. It's because I renamed it from video to video 1 or something like that. I can't remember. Anyway, and it's got the full update notes and all the further patches and stuff after it. So if I go back to Expeditions, I go right the way along to the end. You can see patch 3.35, which is the current patch of the game, and if I go into experimental, I need to sort that out. I forgot I had a thing about experimental. That's good. I forgot I had that video. How to download beta and experimental game versions in Steam. Excellent. Yeah, this is the one that's currently in experimental at the moment with a ridiculous amount of fixes and bug patches and stuff. So that'll be 3.36 when that drops. Okay, let's go back. Remind myself to just fix that quickly. I'm not going to fix the updates video file bit yet, but I will fix the main icon link to it because that's rather important. Oh, you're scrolling down too far. Page updates and experimental all done. Edit text, page, updates and experimental all done. Publish, save. So now when I go and click on it, it should go to the right place. No, because you still haven't. Refresh. That's why. Actually publish. Don't just pretend to publish. That's how you know, because the save goes as well. Right, refresh. Always forget to get rid of the underline. Anyway, it worked, is the point. Okay, so refresh. I have no idea if that did it. Let's find out. It did. Okay, so then the future content I already showed you, didn't I? Alright. Oh, I showed you that I was working on. I don't think I showed you the actual result. So, yeah, exosuit, ships, multi-tool slots, blah 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 blah. Yes, this is all the stuff. I'm currently, I'll finish off doing this page after this video, but I'm currently working on the uploading. That's just the defaults at the moment. What flavour ice cream is your favourite? But yeah, I'm going to default it, get rid of the default stuff and make it add an idea to specific things. Okay. So bugs and fixes. I haven't decided how I want that page to work. I think it might just end up being just a link to one of the groups that I'll set up specifically for bugs and fixes. The mods page, let's just open a few of these at once then. So the mods page is the really simple one you probably saw in the other video if you watched it, where I literally just embed the mods page and add a few other details. Easy, that's done. We've got my other resources in YouTube, as I was also doing in that particular video. So YouTube is first, and then resources like Blender, the Coordinate Exchange, Portal Decoder, Atlas Codex. Okay, nice and easy. Then we've got my blog, which is all about the updates. So I'll be adding this video in there in a little while. Appearances I've not done anything with yet. I want that to be its own dynamic page as well, with lots and lots of pictures of each kind of option that you can put on yourself in the appearances. That is a future project that's, again, probably going to be quite a large one. Forum and groups. Okay, and like I say, I've just set a few up. I've got the game bugs and fixes, so you know what, let's just copy that, and we'll go to the main page and we'll solve this bugs and fixes one for good. Let's just change it. Nope, edit text. Alright, so at the moment you're going to the guide pages dynamic page. I don't want you to. I would like you to go to groups, a group page. Hopefully it's going to come up with a submenu now and let me pick a particular one. No? That's annoying. Group. Surely it should. Let's try the groups list. See if that does it. Surely the groups list is the main page, and then groups page. It should let me pick a particular group out. I don't understand why it's not letting me. Alright, I guess we'll do it the hard way. So again, this now won't work until the site is live. No, not No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky resources.com / game bug fixes discussion group, sorry, / group. Okay, so that will link me to the right page, but only once the site is live and called No Man's Sky resources.com, which currently is the old website and not this new one, so that won't work until later. Okay, that's why I don't like doing the this version of it where you just go web address. I don't like it. Okay. Pardon me. Then, yep, we've got more dynamic pages, and if we have a look at my dynamic list, you will see player bases, player planets and player systems already exist from my old site. That's the first three, so I just need to create the layout page for each of them, and then they're good to go. It's still quite long-winded because there's a lot of different elements on that page, so if I show you on the old website, for example, starters, there are like 3 different pages for each of them. So if I go player discovery, player systems, alright, you've got page 1 that is a relatively simple layout that shows you however many have been uploaded. At the moment there's only 2 here, but also an upload the discovery page. Alright, but then you've got 2 other pages, so if I go into one, so everything you're seeing here is a lot of different elements I need to add to the page. Alright, this is very long-winded setting all this up. Okay, and then there's the other upload a discovery page, which again, lots and lots and lots of elements that basically, you know, like if I press that and that, You know, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different parts of the database that it links to, and that pressing those and submitting pages is adding data to that Excel document, whatever. On Excel document's the wrong word. The database on the website, and you know, same with the pictures, all the little details. So this takes a while to set up, which is why the stuff at the bottom of the page, these bits, are going to be the last things that I set up. Because honestly, nobody was even using them on the old website anyway, which is quite disappointing to me. But they're the hardest bits to set up, basically. So they're staying till last because they're low on my priority list, and they are a lot of effort to set up. Uploaded pictures, I'm sure probably already works. Yeah, I've got my example picture there, but again, I need to upload quite a few pictures there just to populate it. And now for the difficult parts. So we've got the dynamic pages that the databases already exist for. I just need to create the layouts for, and I need to figure out what pages of all of this lot to link those up to, or to embed them in. So that hopefully I can get done over the next couple of days, because you know that data is already there and it's already on the old site, so I'd like to get it out of the way, get it done. Then there's new dynamic pages that need creating. So the story missions I already talked about, with the updated details and rewards for the current version of the game. The egg sequences results table I already talked about a little bit, and the expeditions and their milestones I already talked about a little bit. So they need creating from scratch, although they don't necessarily need to be done before the site goes live. Sub-pages that need creating from scratch. So again, the stuff mostly that I've got resource infographics for, but that I would like to create an embedded part on the pages, or full-blown dynamic. Well, no, these aren't dynamic pages, sorry, these are just the bits that I want to embed on the page, basically, that require me to create a separate page and then embed that page on one of these pages. Okay, so analysis visor icon table, which definitely needs updating because they've changed all the icons. Same with the smaller points of interest icon table, and I want to go into detail about all the smaller points of interest because there is a graphic about that, but yeah, I want to go into more detail. Planet types and their resources. Obviously, I've got the planet types, these things that you've probably seen before about the planet types and what resources are on them, but again, I'd quite like to have it a little better than that and actually on the web page. Observatory puzzles and manufacturing facility answers. Now again, somewhere, probably not in picture form, yeah, not in picture form, probably on the forum or something, I can't remember where I've got it, but I've got all of that stuff. Maybe in Excel and notes. I don't know, I'm not going to go looking for it now. Point is I've got all that information, but I'd like it having its own web page and where it's nice and easy to access and to understand. Space station missions and rewards, space icon tables, space encounter table, you know, so they're all basically tables that I want to embed in the pages. And now that I've figured out how to actually, because I wrote all this before, I figured out that you can actually add tables. Now that I've figured out how to add the tables, I can possibly do that to those specific pages I wanted these in. The problem being that, like I talked about before, I would need to change them from being a dynamic page into being their own pages to do that. So I'm probably better off creating these tables on their own web pages and then embedding those web pages in the current dynamic pages that are up here. Yes. So basically, in order to get this site live, I need to get this section here done, right, and everything I talked about up here that isn't done yet, right, that's what I need to get done. So these bits here can wait until after the site is live, that's fine, it doesn't matter too much. And same with like the bits and pieces that I wanted to do to these individual dynamic pages that already exist. You know, like I can add my embedded web pages into them later. Yeah, that doesn't need to be done straight away. I just want to get this new website up and running and replace the old one, because let's face it, the old one isn't great. I mean, it was good-ish at the time. Like, it was far better than, say, the wiki, and at least all the information was accurate, and still is technically, just not complete anymore because of the Companions update, and some bits of the Pets update have not got on there yet. Sorry, Expeditions update and some part of Companions have not got on there yet, but everything that's on there is correct, is the point. Just some of the icons are wrong. But yeah, this new version is going to be better in every possible way, so I want to get it up and running as soon as possible. And honestly, I'm quite amazed I've managed to make as much progress as I have in such a short space of time, but I've got to admit I am getting to the point now where I am remarkably fed up of doing it and I want a break. So yeah, I'm going to try and bash out over the next couple of days the few little bits and pieces that are necessary, like these dynamic pages having their own layouts and being properly hooked up to the databases I've already got from the old website. I want to add the new items like the craw milk, and a few other bits and pieces that have been added. I've got a list of that somewhere. Oh, I need to update my flower grow times wherever I've got them, because I've noticed I remade the graphic, but I remade the graphic a while back, but I remade it with the old grow times instead of the new grow times, and yeah, I'm an idiot basically. So let's have a look. New items. There's the Pioneers Expedition flag and decal, the Atlas firework pack, they've got the 3 new fireworks on there already, I can cross that off. The Golden Vector ship, the craw milk like I said, the Exosuit expansion unit, which is a tricky one because, you know, I found that can get awarded to you into your inventory, but you can't use it. There's literally nowhere to use it. So I'm guessing it automatically gets used up if you've got the ability to add a slot, as in you don't already have all the slots you can have. I think it just gets rewarded to you if there's literally no possibility of adding a slot to your exosuit anymore because you're already maxed out. That's my guess, but it's totally useless in its current form as far as I can tell. Yeah, so I'll look into that, but it needs adding onto the various databases or whatever, so that'll be well, it's not Curiosity, is it? Is it? No, it can't be Constructed Technology, it must be Curiosity. Yeah, then there's the 5 new ships and the 5 new tools that you can get off the Twitch drops. They all need putting on there, and then I need to do all the titles again. Basically, there are so many titles now that I need to look into it and see if I've got them all, if there's any I'm missing, whatever, and add all them. And then of course there's I want to do a little page about all of the stuff that you can add to the various pets, which are different depending on what type of animal you've got as your pet, by the way. So the robots have got a set of stuff, you know, the Diplos have got a set of stuff they can attach, and I want to figure out exactly what each of them do. So yeah, I think at this point I'm just rambling, but you get the point. You know, amazingly, even though I've only been at this for about 10 days, yep, 10 days exactly I think, as I'm sure it was the 1st of April I started doing this. We'll soon find out. Let's go to the Facebook group and see when I first started blabbing about it. There's a very specific post I'm looking for that will tell me exactly when it was. Here. Alright, so yeah, 31st of March they released Expeditions. They've changed enough that I'll basically have to redo the website from scratch, especially the visuals again. And then it wasn't long after that until I said to myself, yeah, sod it, let's do a new website. So yeah, I've essentially been at it for 10 days and I feel like I have, you know, achieved a fairly significant amount. I'm just lucky I'd got the databases from the old website, because they have helped a lot. If I had to recreate every single one of these pages from scratch, I think I just wouldn't have bothered. Like, it would have just been too much work. But I have done basically nothing else. So for 10 days. So yeah, I'm nearly there, guys. I've gone as fast as humanly possible. There are still quite a lot of kinks to work out, as you can probably tell. There's a lot of links, for example, that aren't quite right, that I need to go through and make sure everything's fixed and totally right before I make it live. Like I say, it's taken me most of the day to do the guide, the mini guides for the various pages that didn't have them, and to do the updates and experimental and the future content page. Was there anything else today that I did? I can't even remember. Other than little details, like I've fixed a lot of little details today. Oh, and the buildings page. Okay, so I've done a small dynamic page, and what turned out to be fairly significant and difficult dynamic page. So 3 dynamic pages of the easier ones done today. I've still got the 6 tech ones. I've still got the story missions ones to set up. I've still got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 item ones, a lot of which are long and complicated, especially the cooking products ones and the construction parts ones. There are so many different things in those databases that they're quite difficult to set up. But hopefully tomorrow I'll make a lot of progress with this. I'm going to start with the story missions one, because I think that's probably the quickest and easiest one to get done. Then I'm going to move on to the tech ones, and I really hope that I can get them done tomorrow. And then the next day probably move on to some of these. But I am quickly running out of time in my Easter holidays. Let's have a look. We are currently on Saturday the 10th. I go back to work on the 19th, and I do not have the 13th, 14th and 15th available to me, as I will be in Nottingham, finally having Christmas with my nieces. Yes, I said Christmas at Easter. So I've literally got tomorrow and Monday to hopefully get the dynamic stuff done. Yeah, and go live. Right, and then when I come back from Nottingham on the Friday, so I've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday to then go through and do as much as I can of everything else. Yeah, but I'm going to give myself a break now. I'm going to do phase 1 again of the expeditions, because I did try phase 1 the other day. I filmed it and basically my microphone wasn't working, and I screamed at the end when I realised. I went to upload it to YouTube and I thought I'll just check it, and I was like, oh, like it was working. The microphone was working. It was just set up wrong on Windows, because Windows wanted to do an update, and when it wants to do an update it messes up my microphone settings for some reason. So basically I was ridiculously quiet, to the point where even if you turned it up to full volume you could not hear me. Like, I mean, you could hear that I was talking, you just couldn't hear what I was saying. So I'm going to refilm phase 1 any second now, to give myself a little bit of a break from all of the website drama, and upload to YouTube. So thanks for watching this video. I hope that gives you some insight on, you know, how I'm getting along with the website, and hopefully it fills you with some hope that it will be up and running soon. Even if it's not 100% done, it will at least have all the content, hopefully, by Monday night. Hopefully it will have all the content that the old website does, and it will have replaced the old website. I'm still panicking a little bit about how to actually do that, but I guess we'll find out when I get to it whether or not that is an easy or difficult task to do. I don't know, I'll figure it out. Anyway, thanks for watching. This rambled on a lot longer than I meant it to, so I'll see you later. Bye.